So there's a book entitled Forgive for Good. And in it, Dr. Frederick Luskin offers this definition of forgiveness. So what is forgiveness? Forgiveness is the peace you learn to feel when you allow these circling planes to land. Forgiveness is for you and not for the offender. Forgiveness is taking back your power. Forgiveness is taking responsibility for how you feel. Forgiveness is about you healing and not about the people who hurt you. Forgiveness is a trainable skill, just like learning to throw a baseball. Yes, the book is very American, I know. Forgiveness helps you get control over your feelings. Forgiveness can improve your mental and physical health. Forgiveness is becoming a hero instead of a victim. Forgiveness is a choice. Everyone can learn to forgive. And what forgiveness is not. Forgiveness is not condoning unkindness. Forgiveness is not forgetting that something painful happened. Forgiveness is not excusing poor behavior. Forgiveness does not have to be an overworldly or religious experience. Otherworldly, sorry. Forgiveness is not denying or minimizing your hurt. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciling with the offender. Forgiveness does not mean you give up having feelings. I find this quite powerful. So this book begins by discussing the definition of grievance and of forgiveness and the benefits of forgiveness. Towards the end, it says that important steps towards forgiveness is reframing the story and taking care of oneself. In other words, to forgive, one needs to reframe, to retell the story, to look at it from a different perspective. Also, forgiving others sometimes include forgiving yourself. In the last week's Torah portion, we read how Joseph tricked his brothers. It's very funny because the Joseph story begins with brothers being unkind towards Joseph. And now Joseph is unkind towards brothers. So what he does is he puts an object, his object, the Egyptian royal object, in Benjamin's bag and sends people away. And then he asks his guards to search the brothers. And of course, the object, it looks like Benjamin stole royal object. So Joseph keeps Benjamin as a prisoner and asks other brothers to go away. An important detail here is that Benjamin is his full brother. It means that all the other brothers only share father. Jacob is the father for all the other brothers, but only Benjamin and Joseph are the full brothers from the same mother. This week's and Jacob thinks that Joseph is dead because brothers told Joseph that a wild animal killed him. So this week's parasha begins with Judah, the older brother, the firstborn, and delivering an emotional plea to let Benjamin return to their father Jacob and Canaan. This is the longest speech or monologue in the Torah, in which Judah offers himself to be a prisoner instead of Benjamin. And I included a long quote here because I think it's so moving, it's so honest, and you can see Netflix making a film about it. Just a very long monologue, very long and a good actor will certainly make justice to it. So forgive me for reading it. And probably could have been better. Could. Then Judah went up to him, to Joseph, and said, "Please, my lord, let your servant appear to my lord, and don't be impatient with your servant. You are the equal to Pharaoh. My lord asked his servants, 'Have you a brother or another? Have you a father or another brother?' We told my lord, 'We have an old father, and there is a child of his old age, the youngest. His full brother is dead, so that he alone is left of his mother, and his father loves him. Then you said to your servants, Bring him down to me, that I may set eyes on him. We said to my lord, the boy cannot leave his father. If he were to leave him, his father would die.'" And then what I skipped here is that Judah says, "But you insisted still. Your servant, my father, said to us, 'As you know, my wife bore me 2 sons, but one is gone from me.' And I said, 'Alas, he was torn by a beast, and I have not seen him since. If you take this one from me too, and he meets with disaster, you will send my white hat with silver, with white hair, down to Sheol in sorrow.'" This is the metaphor in biblical Hebrew for that I might die, I might not live if something happens with this one. "Now, if I come to your servant, my father, and the boy is not with us, since his own life is so bound up with his, when he sees that the boy is not with us, he will die. And your servant will send the white hat of your servant, our father, down to Sheol in grief. Now your servant has pledged himself for the boy to my father, saying, 'If I don't bring him back to you, I shall stand guilty before my father forever. Therefore, please, let your servant remain as a slave to my lord instead of the boy. Let the boy go back with his brothers. For how can I go back to my father unless the boy is with me?'" It was after this speech, unable to contain his feelings any longer, Joseph discloses his identity and sends his brothers home to bring his father and the rest of the family to Egypt. So that melted the heart of Joseph. The classic interpretation of the story is that Joseph keeps his identity hidden to test the brothers. After all the evil they have done to him, after selling him into slavery, have they grown emotionally? Have they developed more compassion to their father and to each other? Taking Benjamin as a prisoner was the test of his brothers, and Judah passed it by demonstrating selfless quality that proved Joseph that brothers indeed have learned their lesson and became compassionate. Other commentators argue in a different way, that behind Judah's speech is not forgiveness, but a call for justice. Some even say that Judah's speech is a threat to Joseph and all of Egypt. I personally find it hard to find the threat in Judah's speech, but commentators go in a long way trying to find the ways of, no, we cannot apologize, we should be strong, they say. With Judah said, no, you broke the law. It was you who put the goblet, this object in the Benjamins. Well, it's not in the speech. I think that most likely it's a peace offering and a plea for mercy. Judah went up to Joseph. He risked his own life to make peace. What strikes me in Judah's speech is the fact that there is nothing about the crime, Not a mention about what Benjamin did or didn't do. His speech is addressed to Joseph as a person, an appeal to his humanity, not an appeal to fairness or justice of the system. It is what Martin Buber called an I-thou relationship, a recognition that speaking person to person has the potential to end conflicts and bring reconciliation. In the plain sense of the text, the brothers finally mature to speak with respect, humanity, and dignity with each other. Brothers finally see people in each other and not just roles that they play in each other's lives. We live in the world of many conflicts. Many of them are caused by inability to reconcile disagreements between institutions. Perhaps one of the strategies should be to stop representing companies, stop representing anything, stop representing countries or unions, and begin seeing human beings behind the masks of organizations. I-thou relationships should be at the core and the beginning of each communication, not a cold and impersonal I-eat relationship. Dr. Friedrich Laskin puts it in this way. The grievances and forgiveness process is like a solar eclipse. In an eclipse, the sun appears to be gone because it's covered. But it hasn't disappeared. It's just covered over by the moon. When we create a grievance, the warmth of the sun of friendship, love, and beauty reduce from our view. Grievances become the moon that blocks the sun. To forgive, we remember the eclipse is only temporary. We remember that people in other parts of the earth have a clear view of the sun. With forgiveness, we understand that as we change our perspective, the sun reappears and its luminous radiance. As we approach the new year, we find excuse to start a new life, new beginning. I know they say never trust the New Year's resolutions, but still, it's a very useful tool. And may this Shabbat be a Shabbat of peace and reconciliation. And may this year be a year of a different perspective, humanity and care for each other. Shabbat Shalom.